So today I want to talk to you about increasing your tips on, especially Uber Eats. It works sometimes with DoorDash, but Grubhub, it really doesn't work because Grubhub pays you what they tell you that they're going to send you when you get sent a request. So I want to talk to you about how I increase my tips usually about 30 to 50% of the time on Uber Eats and probably 10 to 15% of the time on DoorDash. It can be done. The basic premise is that you are going to get an order request. You're going to go pick up that food. You're going to deliver it as quickly as possible to that customer, and you're going to deliver it warm to that customer. That's kind of the baseline. You need to make sure that when you request an order, you go straight to the restaurant. You go pick up that food, you put it in a hot bag, because the customers expect that the food is going to be the same when they get it as it was when you picked it up. So it's really important to put that food into a hot bag. And then you want to make sure that you're going directly from the restaurant to the customer. Don't make any stops, because they are expecting it to be there within a certain amount of time. And also, once you pick up that food, they can look on the apps and see where you are and see if you're going straight from the restaurant to drop off the food to them directly. Now, I will say that sometimes you do get stacked orders, and sometimes I will take orders from both DoorDash and Uber Eats, or DoorDash and Grubhub, so on and so forth. And when I do that, I let the customer know, hey, I've got more than one delivery, so I will be there to drop off your order as quickly as I can. So that's kind of the basic 101 stuff about doing the food deliveries. So next, I want to talk to you about how you can increase your tips with these apps. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to your tips is, what is your customer's obligation? When you see a request come for a delivery order, the app, whether it be DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats, they're going to show you what your payout is going to be. DoorDash, the customer tips up front. Grubhub, they send you a total including the tip, because the customers tip up front also. On Uber Eats, it works a little bit different in that the customer does not necessarily tip up front. They have up to an hour after your delivery to decide on what your tip is going to be. So basically, when you get a request from one of these apps, the app is going to tell you what your total payout is, including the expected tip from the customer. When I get an Uber Eats request, it sends me a total that shows me what my anticipated tip is going to be from that customer. From what I understand, I've watched UDM, as I said in one of my other videos, and in his area, it appears that Uber Eats does not show the actual tip that you're going to get, but that might change. But anyway, when it comes to picking the orders on these apps, the customer is obligated only to what they've agreed to when they place their order, and they are obligated no further than that. In other words, if you see that there's a, let's say on DoorDash, if you see that there's an $8 order and it's going 6 miles and you agree to take that delivery, it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a snowstorm. It doesn't matter if it's rush hour and traffic is tight. It doesn't matter if it takes you an hour to deliver it to that 6 miles. The customer is only obligated to what they put on the app when they requested. The reason that I say this is because there was a video that was going around about, and I don't know if it's an actual true video or not, I don't know if it was just a setup and somebody was pretending, or if it was an actual DoorDash driver, but this girl drove 12 miles and then she decided to complain to the customer because they had only left an $8 tip and it took her 40 minutes to take the delivery. Don't ever ask a customer for more of a tip than they suggested they were going to give you when you decided to take the order. Their obligation is not to give you more money if it takes you longer to take that delivery, and they are not obligated to give you anything more than what they initially said. So don't ever confront a customer about tips. So I never request more money from my customers, and I get higher tips all the time. So let me explain to you how I do that. Number one, I follow the rules that I just talked about. When you get the order, you go directly to the restaurant, you pick it up, you put it in a hot bag, you deliver it right to the customer, and you do it as quickly as possible. If you've got more than one order, you let the customers know, hey, I've got more than one delivery, so I will be there as quickly as I can with your order. My way that I make higher tips is through customer service. The only thing that we can control when we take these food deliveries is what and how and when we communicate with our customers. Our customers are just like any other customers. The better service they get from you, the higher tips you will get for the service that you provide. Let me tell you that most delivery drivers in these gig apps, they will go pick up the order, they will tap the buttons on the app to let them know that the order has been picked up, they will take the order to the customer, they'll tap the button on the app to let the customer know that the order has been delivered, and they will tap the button on the app to let the app know that the order is complete. I take a different approach with it. When I get an order, I do a few different things. The first thing I do is when I get to the restaurant, I always send the customer a text. Some people will say call the customers. I typically don't call the customer myself unless I have a question about the order or something is wrong with the order that I need to communicate with them to fix. But when I get to the restaurant to pick up the order, the first thing I do is I send them an email to let them know, or I'm sorry, a text message to let them know that I've arrived at the restaurant. And it goes something like this. I say, hi, and I put the customer name, and I say John with DoorDash, or John with Uber Eats, or John with Grubhub, and I'm at the restaurant waiting to pick up your order. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but most gig drivers will not do this, and the customers appreciate you letting them know that you have arrived and that you are there waiting for their food. So I always send a text message to them when I get to the restaurant to let them know that I've arrived. Now, there are other times where I have like a order and pay through Uber Eats, and I will send a similar text, but it's a little different, and I say hi with their name, and I say, I've placed your order with the restaurant, and it'll be ready for me to pick up and deliver in about 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, or 45 minutes, however long that time is going to be. When I place the order, I always ask the restaurant, how long do you think until I can get this order? And I let the customer know what the expected time is for me to be able to pick up that order and deliver it to them. So when you get to the restaurant to pick up an order, or you've placed their order, always send a text to them so that you can let them know that you've arrived, or that you've done the initial part of the order, and that you're waiting to pick up the food. So that is the very first thing that you need to do. Now, the next thing that I do is, once I have picked up that order, I send 2 text messages to my customers. The first text message is, I let the customer know, and I say again, hi, whatever your name is. I say, I have picked up your order and I am on my way to deliver it to you. Again, this might not seem like a lot, but this is customer service, and this allows you to communicate with the customer what you're doing. My final text to them, which I send immediately after that, is I say, hey, I just want to say thank you for your order. I appreciate your tip, and if you would, please leave me a high ranking on whatever platform it is that you're delivering on. This does a couple of things. Number one, it shows them a bit of gratitude. Number two, you're saying thank you for that tip that you're getting, so it shows that you appreciate them. And then asking for that ranking, that gets you more positive ranks on the apps that you're delivering. I told you in another video that I'm at 99% on Uber Eats, and I'm at a 4.99 out of 5. And the rankings don't really matter, although if you don't have high rankings, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but if you have a low customer rating on Uber Eats or DoorDash and Grubhub, you can be deactivated. So one way to stem having low ratings from your customers is to ask people for a high rating. You're doing a good job for them, so it's okay to ask them. So that is how I get customers to give me higher tips, plain and simple. And I get higher tips about 30 to 50% of the time. So although sending a couple of text messages might not seem like a big deal, when you go above and beyond what the other drivers are doing out there, it is a huge deal to the customers. Because remember, a lot of these customers are regular users of whatever platform they are on, whether it be DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub. So when somebody goes above and beyond and stands out from the other drivers, you will get a bonus for doing that and for being that person. Again, not everybody is going to do it, and not everybody is going to read your text messages, but you never know who is going to be that one that will give you that extra money because you've gone that extra mile and you've done that extra to stand out from the crowd. I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios where this actually has happened with me, and one of them, my favorite story of all time, is I got a request from DoorDash, and the payout on it was $8.50. It was going 1.7 miles, and it was a pickup from a Walgreens. I had to go in and pick up the items and then deliver them to the customer from there. The order, when I got it, I honestly thought it was a joke. I was just flabbergasted by what I was picking up. I was picking up one pack of ramen noodles, literally a 49-cent pack of ramen noodles, and I initially texted the customer and said, hey, this is John with DoorDash. I'm at Walgreens to pick up your items. And the customer got back with me and said, thank you for letting me know. And I picked up the items. When I got done, I texted the customer and let them know, hey, I've got your items, and I am on the way to drop those off to you. And I did my normal, hey, thank you for your tip, and I appreciate if you'll leave me a high ranking. And then when I got to the customer's house, she actually opened the door and she was laughing, and I started laughing too. And I said, I literally thought this was a joke, that you needed to get one pack of ramen noodles and you did DoorDash for this. And she said, well, I have company and I am doing a recipe, and I needed one pack of ramen noodles to complete the recipe, so that's why I did it. And we laughed again, and I said thank you, have a great day, and went back out to my truck. When I got back out to my truck and completed the delivery on DoorDash, it came across that the payout was actually going to be it was like $23 instead of the initial $8.50 that I was originally quoted. $23 was my payout for one pack of ramen noodles, and I was just flabbergasted at this. And I actually got back out of my truck I went back to the door because I hadn't pulled out of the driveway yet, and knocked on the door, and I basically said, "It's me again," and she laughed, and I said, "I just really want you to know that I really, really appreciate that you were so generous today." And she said, "You know what, you provided such great service and such great communication that I wanted to make somebody's day." And I told her that I really appreciated it, and that it definitely made my day. So that little bit of communication that I did throughout the order, it was above and beyond. And for a 49-cent pack of ramen noodles, I got paid $23 to drive 1.7 miles with it. So that is how important communication is with your customers when you're doing these food deliveries. Another time this happened was on Uber Eats, and I'll tell you the story about that. One night, it was a busy Friday night, and I was sent an order for Uber Eats, and it was an order and pay order, and it was for sushi at a sushi restaurant. And when I got the order, Uber Eats offered me $25 and change. It was going about, I think it was about 10 miles is how far away it was going. So this order was a big order, and I had to take it quite a distance to deliver to the customer. And when I got to the restaurant, I texted the customer and I said, "Hey, I wanted to let you know I placed your order, and it's going to be about 45 minutes that I have to wait for the order to be complete." And I waited the 45 minutes to get the order and picked up the order. And when I got the order, and when I was ready to leave, I texted the customer to let him know, "Hey, I got your order and I'm on the way to deliver it." And once again, I sent the text that said, "I really thank you for your order, and I appreciate your tip. And if you could leave me a high ranking," and I delivered the order. When I completed the order, as I said, on Uber Eats, it can take up to an hour to get your total payout for delivery, because the customers can tip up to an hour after you've dropped it off. And I went about my evening and continued doing runs, and when I got the final tip on that, the payout on that particular one ended up being about $40. And the reason is because the customer added $15 to the tip. So I got from the 25 and change, it went up to around $40. And this was because I communicated with the customer, and I really believe that they felt bad because I had to sit there for 45 minutes and wait for their order to be completed, and that's why they gave me a higher tip. So that's another situation that, play on the sympathy of the customers by, let them know, "Hey, I'm sitting here having to wait for all this time for your order, and you can possibly get a higher tip for it." So that was another great one that it was one of my highest payouts ever for delivery. And it was one that got me a lot more than I initially was quoted, because I texted the customer and let them know that I had to wait. So text your customers and let them know what you're doing, and be full of gratitude with them, and you'll get higher payouts. The last story I want to tell you about is about another customer. It was a truck driver. He was at a rest area on the freeway, and the restaurant that I had to pick up from was literally only about a half a mile from where I was sitting, and it was another order and pay on Uber Eats. The problem was I had to drive 10 miles south to get on the on-ramp, and then drive almost 10 miles north to get to the rest area on the freeway. So it was about a total of about 20 miles that I had to drive to deliver the order. I texted the guy and let him know, "Hey, I placed your order. It's going to be ready to pick up in about 15 minutes. And then when I got the order. I texted him and said, hey, just want to let you know I've got your order. I'm on the way. It's going to take me about 20 minutes to get to you because I got to drive down the freeway. And I, again, texted him after that and said, hey, I really appreciate your order. Thank you for your tip, and please leave me a high rating. So I ended up picking up the order, and I drove down to where the on-ramp was, and then I drove up the freeway to drop off the order to him. And the guy said, hey, I really appreciate you driving all those miles to deliver my order. And the initial payout was going to be around $26. And after I dropped it off and the final order came in, it ended up being a total of $36 because he added another $10 to his tip because of the amount of driving that I had to do to get it to him. Because as I said, on the apps, they can see where you're driving and how far you're going and the route that you're taking. So texting that customer and going the extra mile to get his food to him, when I got it to him, it was nice and warm because I had it in my hot bag, even though it took me 20 to 25 minutes to get to him. And because I communicated with him, he added another $10 to my tip. So that was another great delivery. I made like $36 for delivering that 20 miles. One other thing that I want to say about tips. A lot of people think that the tips that you're going to get are very dependent on what neighborhood you're going into. Let me explain. A lot of people think that you're going to get the higher tips from the more affluent areas in your town. In other words, the people that live in the multi-million-dollar mansions and just the higher level neighborhoods. Don't ever judge where your tips are going to come from. I have delivered to multi-million-dollar homes. I've delivered to private neighborhoods that have a private runway for their airplanes. I've delivered to trailer parks. I've delivered to some of the most ghetto places in town, and I always treat all of my customers exactly the same. I always treat the person in the trailer park the same as I treat the person that is in that multi-million-dollar home. And here's why. You don't know where your good tips are going to come from. And I have delivered to the ghetto and to the trailer parks, as I've said, and some of those people are so generous, and they will give you a very good tip just to say thank you for doing a good job for them. I've also delivered to more affluent neighborhoods and got very good tips, and it's because I treat all of my customers the same. I take great pride in treating their food as if it was my own. I communicate with them the same no matter who it is and where they live, and I always take the quickest route and try to get the food to the customers as quickly as possible, no matter where they are. So don't ever judge where your good tips are going to come from, because you just never know. And always treat all of your customers exactly the same. Send them the text when you get to the restaurant or you place their order. Send them the text when you are picking up the order and you're getting ready to leave. And then send them that final text that says, hey, thank you so much for your order. I really appreciate the tip that you're giving me, and I would really appreciate it if you take the time to leave me a high ranking. Make sure that every order that you do it exactly the same way. And if you do this, you will end up making anywhere from 30 to 50% of the time. You can actually make higher tips on the orders without ever asking anybody for anything more. And you will be able to make more money when you're out there, because if you can get a $10 tip, let's say you're having a slow hour, and you are, let's say you're at $20 or $18 for that hour, and you are doing the customer service like I've explained, you can take that $18 an hour and turn it into a $28 or $35 for that hour, simply by providing the customers the best service and best communication that you can. I know it seems trivial, I know it seems like this might not be a big deal, but it is instrumental in you being able to make more money. So make sure that you are always texting your customers and letting them know where you are and what you're doing, and be full of thanks and gratitude to them for using you to bring their food to them, because that will get you higher tips a lot of the times. So I hope you got a lot out of today's video. It is very, very critical that you do these things to make more money. Remember, when you're going out to do these food deliveries, your goal, your personal goal, is to get out there and make as much money as possible. The more things that you can do to get that number higher, the more money that you'll make, and the more you'll be able to reach your goals. So I thank you for watching my video today, and I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel, and please tap that like button so I can get in front of more people and teach more people and help more people to help them make more money. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw a comment down below, and with that, I'll say have a great day.